Well, hey everybody. Welcome to Picking Bones. My name is Eric Jones, and today we're going to be talking about Batman. And Batman is one of my favorite superheroes. I grew up really loving Batman. Um, sometimes I don't really enjoy tearing up some of these characters and stories that I really love, but I think it's important to understand the stories and the characters that uh, that we're seeing all the time in our media. And so we're gonna take a hard look at Batman. Look back at his early origins. Look at some of his occult connections. So let's get right into it, guys. And we're gonna start with Batman's original origin, which is Detective Comics Volume 1, issue 33. And so this is where Batman first shows up. He was created by Bob Kane and Bill Finger as well. And there's some controversy around all that, but we're not going to get into that today. But it's interesting that he shows up in the 33rd issue of Detective Comics, because the 33 is a number that shows up all the time. And there are 33 degrees in Scottish Rite Freemasonry, and so it's a number that we see popping up quite often. And in this is a blog post that talks about how in the 33rd episode of the TV show of Batman, the original show with Adam West, the live action one. So in the 33rd episode, it's revealed that the great-great-grandfather of Bruce Wayne is actually the founder of Skull and Bones. He created it. And so that's pretty interesting. And yeah, so I mean, if you just had 133, I think you could be like, yeah, that's not proof of anything. But the fact that they use it for the first issue, and then in this episode, they use the 33rd episode to make this this reveal of his connection, of his family's connection to this secret society. I also noticed that the great-great-great-grandfather was a judge named Solomon Wayne. And if you know anything about Freemasonry, you know that much of their ritual and lore focuses around Solomon's temple. So I thought that was interesting. Potentially he was named after that for that reason. So, but going back to the number 33, we do see this referenced all the time. Disney has its own Club 33 at their theme parks, and it's basically this like a Masonic club that you can go to at the theme park, and it's got the classic white and black checkerboard patterned floors. DC also had its offices in the past at 666 Fifth Avenue. No, like I've seen stuff talking about this. It's hard to find like good articles though that speak about this. There's one from Bleeding Cool that I referenced once, but they kind of suck. This is from a blog from Paul Kupperberg, who worked for DC, and he makes a reference here though. It's the best reference I could find, where he says that he wound up sharing an office at 666 Fifth Avenue with Len after he got hired for DC to be an editor. But yeah, it's interesting that they were at this building. What you could say that's coincidence, but the coincidences are really starting to add up here. So yeah, it's just something interesting to look at. And we also have Marvel Comics chose 616 as the designation for the primary Marvel universe, and 616 is another manuscript variant of the number 666 in the Bible. So sometimes you see 616, it basically means the same thing. So Marvel was a bit more blatant about it, where they chose that number specifically for their universe. DC seems like they chose this building, though, perhaps for the similar reasons, because of their satanic origins. So here we have Batman Volume 1666. This is just the main main Batman series comic run. And this issue is by Grant Morrison. Grant Morrison is really into the occult. He's got articles where he talks about chaos magic and working sigils and different things. He's a big fan of Aleister Crowley. He's a total douche canoe. Not a fan of the guy at all. Just in general, and also like as a writer, I don't enjoy his stuff. It's not good. But anyway, he wrote this Batman 666 issue, and this issue takes place in the future, and Bruce Wayne, Batman, is killed, and Damian Wayne ends up taking over the role of Batman, and immediately he sells his soul to Satan in exchange for Gotham's protection. And then he has to deal with fighting some other Batman who claims to be the Antichrist. The whole comic is revolving around like satanic themes and whatnot. So Damian, with the satanic pact, has to go up against this other guy. Damian ends up just murdering the guy, saying that what happened to my dad paved the way for a Batman like me. Damian, of course, is the name of the kid in The Omen, so it's like a name that's generally associated with like an Antichrist type figure, and so that is Damian, though, is canon. Like, he is the actual son of Batman, and it's interesting that they put this issue is in the main run of Batman. Like, so presumably, like, this is on some level canon. It's just in the future. It's, a lot of the stuff that they do, like, where they do weird stuff with the story, they do in Elseworld stories. But in this one, no, it's right in the main Batman run. So that's a thing. Here's another comic by Grant Morrison, Arkham Asylum. I don't even have any screenshots from this one, but I do remember when I read this one, he had loaded occult symbolism in this comic as well. It's another one by Grant Morrison. You have other writers doing a lot of occult stuff with Batman as well. Here's Batman with a character called Baphomet, and Batman works together with Baphomet for a while, but it's eventually revealed that he's a villain. And this story, though, was by Clerks guy. Man, I'm not thinking of the name. He does Hollywood Babylon. Kevin Smith, sorry. And he's really... he's got this series Hollywood Babylon, where he's just like as vulgar and vile as possible. That's kind of his shtick, is being degenerate. So yeah, he of course had to throw some more Satanism into the Batman lore. As you can see, there's already plenty of it. And some of the latest stuff that's happened is there's a show called Pennyworth, and it focuses around the butler, Alfred Pennyworth, I guess. I haven't watched the show, but one of the viewers here was telling me about it, and so I was looking into it a little. And yeah, this show has Batman's parents, Thomas and Martha Wayne, go to a party at Aleister Crowley's house. So here she is standing in front of this demonic figure. And yeah, so Martha gets dragged to a private party held by Crowley. It's an unsettling party with mask-wearing guests, gothic decor, and orgies. And it culminates in a creepy scene where Martha meets this demon. And when the episode closed, she's lost some time and wakes up naked in a field with no idea how she got there. So yeah, here's from the Discord. Somebody posted some of these pictures. That's what the demon looks like with its multi eyes. And here she is waking up naked in a field. Big tree, big creepy tree. So that they had Batman's parents meet Aleister Crowley, and I guess Thomas Wayne in the episode is shown some sort of video of some satanic ceremony where he sees like some demon. Yeah, I haven't watched it, but it's it's an interesting thing to have heard about. We also have the Court of Owls storyline. This one is by Scott Snyder, and this in this Batman basically has to fight a secret society, which is very Illuminati-esque, or and yeah, they all revolve. It all revolves around like owl symbolism, the Court of the Owls, and yeah, we see this with the Bavarian Illuminati itself. They use the owl, and so do Bohemian Grove. I saw the owl in a Masonic lodge that I just toured. You can see the picture of that if you want to check out that video. So yeah, the owl is a symbol of wisdom, and it's classically used by all these secret societies. Here's another kind of interesting tangent. So Batman recruits Robin, and Robin becomes his classic sidekick. But the first Robin was Dick Grayson, and he was a circus performer, and his parents were murdered. And this is why Batman kind of ends up adopting, essentially, Dick Grayson as his ward, and trains him to become Robin. But the circus itself has a lot of Masonic ties. And so, yeah, here's from a Masonic website, Phoenix Freemasonry, and it's quoting this book, 10,000 Freemason, and it points out that, talking about the Ringling Brothers Circus, that all branches of this family had early and strong connections with Masonry. And so they ended up hiring this guy called Yankee Robinson, who was, I guess, helped bring in the crowds, and he wore a Masonic pin, it says, and he got a Masonic burial. So, and it also points out that August Ringling, who is the father of the 7 Ringling brothers, he joined the lodge in 1891 and stayed in it until his death 7 years later. But the 7 brothers, they became Freemasons before their father, actually, and they were all Masons. All 7 brothers were Masons. So, yeah, we have the biggest circus there is, was run entirely by this Masonic family. And we also have the Shrine Circus. Here's another Masonic website pointing out the Shrine Circus, and how this is another essentially Masonically linked circus. So as you can see, the circus, it's weird, I know, but it's classically had a lot of Masonic ties. So we've got that. That's another interesting little tangent. We also have a Batwoman show coming out, and that's got Catherine Kane, Batwoman, and she seems to be, in some versions of the story, linked to Batman's family because his mother was Martha Kane before she married, so I believe she's like a cousin to Batman, and her character's I would invite you to go watch the trailer for the Batwoman TV show if you're looking for a laugh. It's just like feminism, the show. She has a line where it's like they're talking about Batman's suit, and it's like, oh, this suit is perfect, and she's like, it will be when it's worn by a woman, and like she just like hates Batman, and it's all about how women are the best and men are evil. And yeah, just watch the trailer and tell me that's not what it is. So anyway, we also have we've got that show coming out. Batman sometimes does work with certain like occult figures. He's got some comics with this guy called the Demon. This parallel doesn't look like they're working together here. I know, but they often do work together. And this character is literally he's a demon, and he often fights on the side of good. He was basically like summoned by Merlin and then like bound to some medieval peasant. So like Merlin bound a demon to a guy, and he helped them fight off other evil, I guess. I don't know. It's a stupid character. But yeah, that's another character that Batman interacts with sometimes. You've also got Zatanna, who's this kind of magician chick, and she's big into magic, obviously. So yeah, sometimes Batman does tie up with some of these darker occultic figures. You've also got like Hellraiser, not like the weird guy with the pins, but some Constantine. That's what I'm thinking of. Constantine. He's another guy that kind of deals with the occult often. But let's start talking about the Joker a little bit. And we will talk a little bit about the newest Joker film at the end of this. I'll warn you before we start talking about that. But, some of the more interesting symbolism with Joker actually came from The Dark Knight. We have this scene at the end of the movie where Batman catches the Joker and he ends up with a rope around one of his feet and his other leg bent like this. And he is in the classical position of the Hanged Man, that tarot card. You see all these different versions of it, and they always have the one leg. It's one leg that's always tied to the rope, and the other leg is always crossed in all these different versions of it that you can see. And we also have this movie, The Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus. And this came out before The Dark Knight, but it was another one of Heath Ledger's final films. And as you can see here, this is a screenshot from it. You got that classic white and black checkerboard floor. And so we're not going to dig into this analysis. You can check out this Vigilant Citizen analysis of that film. The Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus is just loaded with occult symbolism. It's all about the occult. There's basically a satanic figure and a Gnostic sort of Christ type figure, and they're battling out over who can win the most souls. And there's a lot of all-seeing eye symbolism and various occult symbolism in this film, and deals with mind control. So there's a ton in this, and you can check out Jay Dyer and Tristan from Primal Edge Health. They just had a talk. You can check that out on Jay's channel. They discuss this film, or you can check out this article if you want more on that. But there's a scene in it where Heath Ledger is hanged under a bridge, and it seems very reminiscent of this Masonic ritual of this hanged man. And you can see these symbols that are written on Heath Ledger's forehead. And this middle symbol is the one that I'm most interested in. We just talked about a symbol that looked almost exactly like this one in one of my recent videos, and that was a video on Harry Potter. And we talked about how this symbol is the symbol of the Deathly Hallows. You can see it's nearly exactly the same, except there are spokes in the wheel. You got basically two more lines for like making spokes for this circle. But other than that, it's the same symbol. This is very close to the alchemical symbol for the Philosopher's Stone. And we also have this right here. And this actually comes from an article because J.K. Rowling herself linked this symbol to the Freemasonic symbol with the all-seeing eye and the square and the compass. And she said that she must have subconsciously come up with this symbol for the Deathly Sallows, and that's how it was somehow linked to the Masonic symbol. But this symbol, we see it on... he probably has it in this article. Yeah, you see it here on the This is the tarot card with the Hanged Man, and you can see that symbol here. I'm not sure. I mean, it seems to be an alchemical symbol that represents, rebirth, and I mean that's the goal in alchemy is the transfiguration of the self, and it seems that the Hanged Man itself, that symbol is used to reference the dying god, or this idea of kind of being reborn as a ascended being, and so it seems like this Masonic ritual is even about that. With this Hanged Man under a bridge. So we got some very weird symbolism going on in this film, and it's just very interesting how he did this Hanged Man scene with this in this bridge, and I believe that this movie actually might have been after The Dark Knight, now that I think of it, and I believe he died during the filming of this, and so they had to have other actors come in and play the same part that Heath Ledger did, and so it's a really trippy movie with like different characters playing the same part at different points, and like it's a super weird film. But yeah, we've got this weird link, and it ties into the Hanged Man, and then we see this referenced in The Dark Knight as well. I don't know if Heath Ledger was sacrificed or what happened there, but people have speculated about that, and it's very weird. And another thing we see just classically when we think about Batman and the Joker is an agent of chaos, Batman an agent of order, and so you have this kind of Masonic idea right in there of order out of chaos. The Joker is always saying how Batman and he are linked, and like they're two sides of the same coin. They are connected, and this really ties into this whole Masonic idea and this checkerboard floor. And so now we are going to talk a bit about Joker. I'm not going to do a super in-depth analysis of this film, but if you don't want to get spoiled at all, you can kill the video here. But if you don't care, I don't think I'm going to totally ruin anything for you. But we'll just talk a little bit about some of the symbolism we see. Yeah, actually, I will totally ruin it for you. So if you care, turn off the video. I'll give you 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. So there's a scene where Joker finally snaps. He's been dealing with a lot of crap in his life, and I don't have any more pictures, so you can look at my pretty mug here. So there's this scene where Joker snaps, and he pulls out a gun and shoots some people that are attacking him. It's actually self-defense, at least with the first 2 guys that he takes out. But then he chases down the other guy who ran, and he kills him in cold blood. And so then Joker the character, really, Arthur, starts to really snap, and he runs into a bathroom. And what you see before even seeing the bathroom is the floor. And you see the black and white classic checkerboard pattern. I thought that was interesting. I didn't notice a ton of occult symbolism in the film, really, but that was the one thing that I kind of took note of. It was right when he snapped, and we saw this symbol. And I was kind of mentioning, like, you got that order out of chaos, the need for balance of light and dark, and so we have this classic Masonic symbolism. Um, and so I noticed that in the film. I also noticed um, at the end of the film, that's where it really like I got thinking the most about like how this is going to affect could kind of impact society. Like, what is the message of this film? What is the propaganda purpose of this? And it really ends in a created chaos. The people are celebrating the chaos that the Joker has created. I did think it was pretty interesting to look at how Joaquin Phoenix, by the end of the film, he had really transformed into a very similar Joker to Heath Ledger's Joker. It's in look and in his mannerisms. He was doing kind of like playing with his tongue a bit, doing some of the same stuff that Heath Ledger did. It was pretty interesting to see his transformation just from an acting perspective. But we saw at the end of the film, the people really kind of buy into what the message of that they're pulling from the Joker anyway, which is just like this anti-authoritarian, this anti-rich, anti-establishment mentality. And so people are just rioting in the streets, tearing everything down. And it's really disturbing, but you see all these people are like celebrating. They're like, yeah, this is great. We need to just tear everything down. And if you just think of how Masonry works and how the Illuminati itself worked, it's always about like manipulating revolutions. That's the way that they can get themselves more power. They try to harness and direct the anger of the mob, of the people, and then they use that to tear down the old structures, but then they build up their own new corrupt structures, and it's this order out of chaos. It's the symbol of the phoenix, of being burned down to the ashes and then reborn. And so yeah, that was the thing that kind of stuck out to me the most, was just like at the end, kind of how the people are responding to this. And if you think of just how people are kind of becoming more and more nihilistic and just disgusted with how things are, and more, it seems like people are becoming more and more willing to go to extremes, potentially, to try to fix society or push it in the way that they want it to go. So yeah, that's the main thing I noticed out of it. The checkerboard symbolism was kind of interesting, and I'm sure that there's more that people will pick up on. But it wasn't like particularly loaded with occult symbolism like some films are. Yeah, you've got the clown stuff. There's some interesting stuff there, but yeah, I'm not gonna really dig into it. I think I just wanted to talk more generally about Batman and the Joker, and so yeah, I think we put together some interesting stuff here. I knew a lot of this, but I didn't know all of it, so it's really interesting to study this. I do find it, yeah, kind of disheartening to tear down some of these heroes that I loved, because it's like Batman did inspire me on some levels. Like Batman, like, you know, like I really appreciate Batman's drive to stand up when something is wrong. And I don't think that all people who write Batman stories are incorporating horrible satanic symbolism and like doing terrible things with the character. But like, it seems like from the very beginning there have been people doing this sort of stuff with this character, and with a lot of comic characters, and with a lot of modern characters in general, with, you know, Harry Potter as well. So many of these characters are just like, they can be really enjoyable in some ways, but they can also be used to try to manipulate the way that we see the world and to push certain ideas on us at the same time. So it's important to talk about this stuff. And yeah, guys. So that's the video for today. I did quit my job, guys. Wasn't having it anymore. It wasn't the best job. I really want to do this full time, so this would be a great time to donate if you're interested in doing that. I've got my PayPal and a Patreon. I'm gonna try to be better about providing different things to my Patreons. I've got a paper I'm working on that I'm gonna post there, and I'm also gonna update my thesis. And I'm going to post that there for people who want to donate. So, yeah, this would be a good time if you're interested in doing that. I don't know how soon I'll be able to start doing this full time, but it's what I want to do. In the near future, I'll have more time for videos because of this. But I'm also going to have to find myself another job and just figure things out. So, yeah, we'll see how things go. But if you want me to be doing more of this, which is what I want, this would be a good time to show me your appreciation. Potentially donate if you are able to do so. But yeah, I'll be trying to crank out some content in the coming weeks, but I also gotta focus on finding myself some new work. So yeah, that's where I'm at, guys. If you're watching this live, you can go check out, Jay is about to debate a Gnostic fellow. So you can check out Jay Dyer's, maybe check his stuff out. He's probably got a link to that somewhere. But that's what's going on right now, guys. And we'll be doing some more book analysis and other stuff in the future really soon. So we'll talk to you guys later. Have a great day.